Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
Yeah, Mike, you're a little hot.
I know.
Coming in hot.
That's right. We have evidence of that.
People even word on the street.
We're on the streets.
That I'm a hot piece of dick.
Ugh. I don't know that the phrase "hot piece of dick" has ever been. That's
come to the Twin Cities, baby.
That's right.
But yeah, no, I am in St. Paul, the St. Paul Hotel right now. Ian and I performed a really cool show with Lou Barlow was on the show and Mikey Erg. Do you guys know the Ergs? Do you know the band, the Ergs?
Yeah, they were on Dirt Nap, right?
Yeah, they did some stuff on Dirt Nap. Mikey's like the drummer and singer for that band, but he plays in a ton of other bands too. He's really cool, fun, funny dude that I've known since Denton days. He was the band leader, I think, for the Chris Gethard show. I don't know if you ever saw the Chris Gethard show.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, and then we did a show.
Listen to the podcast. He's a big fan of Mark's.
Why?
Yeah, I did some shows with him recently ish. We should get him on the show. We'll get Chris Gethard on the show.
Hey, Chris, you're on the show.
You're on the show.
Clear your schedule.
You guys are making a lot of assumptions about another person's commitment to something that we're doing.
These aren't assumptions. These are facts.
No, that's an assumption. I rarely confuse assumptions with facts. You don't even know that he listens to this, and you just called him out by name.
He's got the tattoo. He's got an INS tattoo.
He's famous. We call out. He's got a Rim Reaper tattoo
on his neck.
Is he in the club? Who doesn't have a Rim Reaper tattoo?
When you make an assumption,
right? You
make an ass out of you. Think about that. Well, yeah, it was a big party, so I'm a little
Logie.
I'm a little road worn and weary. I've seen one too many miles.
Going to a Bob Seger cover. I feel like you got that in you right now.
Seger dog.
He's big in the trucker community, right?
I'm sure he is.
I don't know. I know he's secretly a werewolf.
Well, sure.
If you have sunglasses like that on an album cover,
right? Like if you were to name like 5 bands, the majority of classic American truck drivers I think Seger's on the list.
Bob Seger.
What was his band called? It was Bob Seger and the something, right?
The Silver Bullet Band.
Silver Bullet Band.
There you go. There's the werewolf connection. I get it.
Yeah. Who else would it be? You probably get some.
You think ZZ Top, maybe?
Ronnie Millsap.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe ZZ Top.
Eddie Rabbit.
Yeah.
You love a rainy night.
Maybe a little. Who's that albino boy?
Edgar Winter, right?
Edgar Winter, one of the Winters.
Edgar Winter?
Yeah.
Isn't he like a prog rock guitar player? If we start talking bad about Edgar Winter, Mark's gonna get mad at us. He'll edit it all out. Super pissed.
Black Oak, Arkansas, maybe, I bet.
Yeah. But definitely Bob Seger, I think.
Yeah, Bob Seger. And Bananarama.
Did you say Bab Seger?
Bab Seger. No, that's the female reboot.
That's right.
Taking care of business.
Is that every day?
He sings "Taking Care of Business." Is that Bob Seger?
That's Bachman Turner Overdrive.
BTO.
Every day, working overtime. I only do the backup parts.
You almost sound like a Cosby kid doing that.
Oh wow, yeah, that Mushmouth. No, Rudy.
Boy, it's weird that
That's So Raven.
Exactly. Those animated kids are gone forever, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, they're called the Cosby Kids. You can't separate them.
I think that even Budd got canceled.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
Maybe we'll have to do know more about your podcast on the Cosby Kids.
Well, there's a lot of things, but yeah, because I mean, there's every day that goes by, Cosby lore is going to become more and more obscure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does not get brought up very often.
I mean, I think that's maybe okay.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be kind of like, there's a lot of people who are like real obsessed with like World War II and the Nazis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That aren't pro-Nazis, but they know about all the evil deeds.
You watched a lot of History Channel in the mid-90s?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think History Channel in the mid right now.
Yeah.
They still do World. I thought History Channel was like reality TV and Ancient Aliens.
Well, there's definitely channels that are primarily the armies of the Axis marched further and further into France.
I think the History Channel figured out you can stick the phrase Hitler's secret in front of anything and people will watch it.
Hitler's secret dildos.
Right.
What were Hitler's secret occult connections? We only know of one kind of one, but let's speculate on thousands of others.
Right. The collection of Mesopotamian dildos.
You see how there's an eagle on the outfit? Let's look at what every single culture in history has thought about an eagle and try and apply the weirdest parts to this.
In the ancient Incan Empire, the eagle symbolized wisdom. Hitler thought by combining that imagery with the uniforms of the Nazis, they would gain super strength and super intelligence.
Super wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Super wisdom.
West of the Rockies.
Super, like just zooming in on, like, I like it when they zoom in on photographs.
Yeah.
And it's like a low resolution photograph. So it just gets more and more pixels.
Wait, I do that on our TikTok like every day, Brian. You know that, right? Because
this is a shocker, Kevin. I have never watched one of those. I have never seen. I mean, I didn't know you were doing that.
We get thousands of views a day.
Well, I bet your mom's thumbs are tired.
Mike, sometimes I get a like from a Mr. Mike Wiebe.
Oh, really? Cool.
Oh, that's right.
He's a cool guy.
If you do a good job.
He's a real cool guy.
So yeah, that technique though, that filmmaking technique of all we've got is a picture. We're going to slowly close up on the picture and then slightly turn the camera if it's something sinister.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this time I used to work at this group home in Denton, Texas.
And for the listener, could you explain what a group home is?
Yeah, just a bunch of wayward teens that helped me keep my race cars running intact. And we would travel around. There were a bunch of orphans. I took them in.
You describing the Apple Dumpling Gang?
I thought he was describing the Mr. T cartoon, T-Force.
Oh.
I was describing Six Pack with Kenny Loggins. But
okay. Aaron Gray, also.
Yeah, that's a good one.
R.I.P. But no, it was a group home, adult mentally handicapped folks that were pretty high functioning. But there's 6 adult males who, just needed somebody there all the time. And, it was regular, like 6-8 hour shifts or whatever. One time I rolled up there and the place was kind of out in the country and it froze. Like I was working a shift that I was supposed to get off at like 11 p.m. at night. And there was a really insane freeze and there was nobody could really drive around anywhere, particularly in that country or whatever to come out. So they're like, hey, can you stay the night? And I said, yeah, but I hadn't brought anything to like sleep on the couch or anything. So I didn't really have anything. There was some food in the house for everybody, but it was just, and I can't leave them. So long story short, I got stuck there for about, I don't know, over 48 hours. Like all these, people were refusing to come to work. Nobody was coming to relieve me. And I wasn't gonna,
Well, yeah.
So I started to I get there's
you're not going to leave.
I can't. Yeah, I'm not going to leave. And but I started I couldn't really sleep because there wasn't really. I mean, there was kind of a very uncomfortable couch that I would kind of sleep on, and I started going crazy. And then the last, somebody came one morning. It was I was freezing too. It was so goddamn cold. We had the heat pump, but it didn't work very well. If I had a night that I knew I was supposed to stay the night, I would bring a blanket and a pillow or whatever and sleep for a couple hours or whatever. But I started watching these serial killer documentaries. There was some A&E somebody was running seriously running I don't know, 7 hours of them.
Yeah.
And it was that same technique of, showing bodies of murder victims and the camera, it's just a picture a body, of a murder victim, black and white, sometimes color, but a lot of these things happen in the 70s and stuff like that. Right. So all grainy. And then the camera's closing in on the mutilated body, and there's just like a piano playing like 2 or 3 notes, just like dun 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 dun, and some narrator going like
the Dateline narrator.
The Dateline narrator. Yeah.
Lots of letting things trail off.
Describing the carnage in a way that it would have been awful to see it, but seeing some of the carnage and describing more of the carnage, and then cutting to the cops talking about how they felt when they saw the carnage. I was so sleep deprived. This was at the end of the whole thing. I was going insane, and I started to it started to mess with me. And then this is very late at night, end of the morning, and then occasionally, one of the clients, as we call them, would just walk out, and I would kind of half asleep, and I just wake up and see this lumbering figure staring at me. Mark, when we gonna get a leave? I don't know.
Yeah, that would be frightening.
That stuff can get in your head.
With that story ending pause, yes. Why don't we talk about the news? Hey, here's this thing I found in the news.
Donald Trump. Guess what they found in his
Mesopotamian dildos.
Mesopotamian dildos.
It's classified Mesopotamian dildos.
Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I'm Brian Kemp.
I'm Mike Wiebe.
So this week, we've got 3 news stories for you. And then Mike has a news story in Get to Know Your Podcast.
Or do I?
Uh-oh.
I can't wait to find out.
It's going to be a mystery. You're going to have to listen to the end of the episode to find out.
Stand by, gentle listener, to find out if Mike does or does not have something to discuss that has been discussed previously on this, a Phase 2 podcast.
Yes.
Kevin, the news, if we need the news.
Okay. Our first story comes to us from the Daily Mail.
I get it every day.
The Daily Mail. Every day.
Get it every day.
Police in Manchester, England, were searching for an 18-year-old car thief. Police went to the man's home address, hoping to find him, but instead, the only one home was a 5-foot-tall, stuffed teddy bear. And that is when things got weird. Police said they noticed the teddy bear appeared to be breathing. Apparently, the man had cut a hole in the bottom of the teddy bear and climbed inside to avoid capture. Police arrested the man, and in mid-August, the man was found guilty of car theft, driving with a suspended license, and for driving away from a gas station, or as they say in England, a petrol station, without paying. He was sentenced to 9 months behind bars.
Manchester, England, across the Atlantic Sea, and I am a genius, and I believe that God believes in Claude. That's me. That's from the musical Hair.
Wow. So 18-year-old car thief in Manchester, England. Cops are like,
sorry, go ahead.
Cops can't find him, so they go to his house, and I don't know, they're allowed to enter his house. It wasn't clear why or how, if they had a warrant or what. They enter his house. He's not there, but they're like, hey, that guy's got a giant 5-foot teddy bear over there. And then they're like, hey, that teddy bear looks like it's breathing. And so they went and roughed it up a little bit, and it turned out the 18-year-old car thief had crawled inside the teddy bear.
There's actually a really sad story about that happened to a guy in a gorilla costume, but they put him in there with another gorilla.
Oh, no.
And the live gorilla did not know that it was...
Was this on a train? I think I might have heard about this.
Yeah, it happened on a train. It happened on a train. It was actually that Senator Al Franken was kicked out of Congress because it came out about him later.
You're talking about the movie Trading Places. That's a movie.
No. They based the movie on this thing.
Eddie Murphy on the train and Dan Aykroyd? Not
in the original thing. They had actors play. Have you ever seen All This President's Men? That's about Watergate, which is a real thing. And this movie was about this incident, which is a real thing. And,
Kevin, there was a famous commodity scam that was going, it was a whole thing.
Have you ever heard of Black Friday?
Joe Friday?
No, and not the day where you get cheaper bullshit that you don't need at Best Buy or whatever. I'm talking about the day that the stocks fell apart.
Oh, okay.
Well, it has to do with that. Anyway, it culminated. There was a fella who, let's just say, got violated by a real life gorilla.
Oh no.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
mistakes happen. Zoos cover that stuff up a lot, I think, but I don't think that's entirely uncommon, I guess.
Yeah.
I think, isn't that song American Pie about that? I think, like, Don McLean wrote.
That's not what that's about at all.
Yeah, no, it's about Monkey R.
Yeah. Monkey R. It's a hell of a name for a
I don't even
band.
like to say it. It's ugly.
It is ugly.
It's ugly. It's a triggering word. Like I said before, I think I've said before that I really want to purchase a big painting that's a portrait of somebody who's scary looking.
So Mark, our producer, Mark Ryan.
He's just more disturbing looking.
Okay.
I want someone who's scary, like a very oil painting of a guy that looks like he's from Victorian England or something like that. Anyway, and I want it to be set up to where every so often the eyeballs slide away and some animatronic eyes come forward and look around the room, right? And then you could also go behind there and actually put your own real eyes in there. Like if I was really rich, I'd just hire a guy to go back there and look out.
It might be cheaper than getting the eyes. No, you can get eyes pretty cheap these days, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Just get like a doll.
eBay.
Did you ever see that movie? It was a made-for-TV movie called The Dark Knight of the Scarecrow.
Oh yeah, I know the one you're talking
what a
about.
Good name. No.
Well, Larry Drake, who played another mentally handicapped fella, he played on L.A. Law.
Oh, Benny.
Remember that show, L.A. Law? Yeah, he played Benny. Mm-hmm. It was an earlier role for him where he played a mentally handicapped guy, and they got convicted. They accused him of doing something, and he lived out in the farm. He hid in a scarecrow, but they knew it was him, and you could see his eyes, and they're going like, ooh, 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 and they killed him.
I don't think that they know it's no, they don't know it's him. They're trying to find him, and they're bored, searching for him, and so they're like, "Hey, see that scarecrow out there? I bet you can't shoot it." And so they have a little shooting competition with the scarecrow, and that's when he's freaking out, and then they kill him.
That's the made-for-TV part, I bet. They softened that up a little bit.
Yeah, that's not what happened in real life. Anyway, but in real life, either way, somebody dressed as a scarecrow came back and killed everybody.
Wow. Was it Larry Drake? Was it his ghost? Or is that spoiling it? Is that a key plot point?
That's a key plot point.
I think it's definitely a key plot point, isn't it? That sounds like maybe the key plot point.
This fella, so was he okay? Was he hyperventilating in the
Are we back to the bear costume?
The bear costume.
Okay. Return back to that.
Was he good question, Mike. Was he breathing heavy? What's going on?
Did they kick the shit out of the bear costume? Because that's what I would do. I would immediately just go say real loud, well, I guess he's gone. I'm so angry about him being gone. I'm just going to put in these earbuds so I can't hear anything and just let all my aggressions out in a safe way on this big teddy bear right now. Because I wouldn't want to take out these aggressions on anything in an unhealthy way. This is what my therapist says, that I should focus my anger on something that doesn't hurt anyone else. Because sometimes I misplace my anger. But if I place this into a pillow, which is essentially what a giant teddy bear is, then that's the healthy way to do it. So I guess I'll just go pick up this crowbar over here. Just go hog wild.
Are you narrating this as the cop? Are you narrating this? I'm sorry, this is England. As the Bobby, are you narrating this as you do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's all, I believe I'll put in my earbuds. Play some Oasis. One day you're gonna be the day coming on back to you. Whack! By now, you should have shown how gonna go. What you got to do? Whack! And then just beat the living shit.
Right.
Until you're so tired you cannot swing that
crowbar.
Well, I said crowbar, but now I kind of want it to be a cane
Oh, yeah.
What about a cricket bat?
A cricket bat would be good. Or a cane with a silver werewolf head on it.
Oh, yeah.
But a really heavy one. Like one that
Wolfman.
can really do some significant damage.
Right. You want to break a bone.
So when it is revealed afterwards, it's like, well, I didn't. There's no way I could have known. And everybody else, when it gets called in and when IA comes in and starts throwing you questions, it'll all be documented because they'll go like, hey, thief, did he say he was going to hurt you? He was like, no, he said he was going to take out his anger on a... I was supposed to know. There was no way I could know. And I feel horrible.
When you're cleared of all charges, do you wink at the kid in the bear costume? Do you that only he can see?
It's a bear stuffed animal, not a costume.
Well, I think once you get inside of it, it becomes a costume. I think
once you get inside of it,
it's still a bear. It's not like you could wear that for Halloween.
Why not?
Why not?
It's a bear. It's a stuffed
you
bear.
You can wear anything you want for Halloween.
Yeah, you don't put rules on that, Kevin. People like Halloween's about having fun, and dressing up is what you want to dress up.
Fun.
Wow.
Yep. Don't be a stick in the mud.
You're a real stick in the mud.
So our next story comes to us from the University of Chicago News.
That's a good university. Yeah. The News University. Do you think there's any chance that they might want us to come guest lecture there?
Well, I bet so.
I think, now that we've covered one of their stories, I'd put our odds at higher. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Have I apologized about Chicago dogs yet? I had one. That's pretty good.
You've never apologized about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. But
wait, would it have ketchup on it, Brian?
Yeah, it had all the shit. It had like the poppy seed bun and then a pickle. And no, I didn't have ketchup. I had mustard.
Where do you have this?
This place here in town. And it was delicious. And I feel like maybe I've just had, I think what the problem is that most Chicago dogs are just poorly made.
Oh, okay.
But I think if you get one that's well made, it's delicious. And so I'm as someone who is willing to be wrong at all times, I learned a very important lesson about being down on foods.
How was it in the nitrate department?
Well, I feel pretty strong still from it. And I was able to hold my breath about 5 seconds longer than I normally can. So I feel like it was pretty heavy on the nitrates.
Yeah.
I feel like my body could withstand an extra atmosphere of pressure, I guess is the best way to say it. So
do you feel like you're better at sensing where objects are in the dark for a little bit?
Yeah, that's a tough one, Mike. Because I
don't know what time of day you ate it.
Right.
So.
I use a lot of senses when I do that. And I've been working on just walking around with my eyes closed lately because I'm so high up in nitrates already that's something I'm able to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it probably helped a little bit, but definitely, I mean, so high nitrate, so very healthy,
Interesting. Maybe we should do a food review.
We should do a place. That's what we do. Lots of food reviews.
Do a live episode from there and demand that they give us free food because we are giving them free publicity.
Oh, we should totally do that. I think restaurants love it when you do that.
Yeah.
So we have discussed the Mandela effect on the podcast before.
We have indeed.
Just for the listener, just for review, the Mandela effect is the phenomenon where one or more people misremember things, but insist their memories are the way things used to be, and they justify this by saying someone is messing with our reality.
And I would like to remind the listener that what you're describing is the butterfly effect perfectly because you're demonstrating it by calling it the wrong thing. You're remembering this as the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is totally different. That is when you think you make a change in the past and everything's different is the Mandela effect. Butterfly effect is when you get confused. So like everybody, it's about the movie. Everybody thinks Ashton Kutcher was in that movie, but it was really a very young Tom Cruise. That's why it's called the butterfly effect.
That was Vanilla Sky.
Are you talking about losing it?
No, I'm not talking about losing it. I'm talking about butterfly effect starring Ashton Kutcher.
No, Vanilla Sky was the Tom Cruise movie that played with reality and all that stuff.
Oh, Penelope Cruz is in that.
Yeah.
Not related.
Oh my God. Brian got somebody right.
I have not been wrong, so...
You just apologize for being wrong.
Pronounced it Penelope Cruz, but yes.
Call it Cruz.
Her name's Penelope Cruz, if you want to say it correctly. It's just Cruz.
Oh,
Cruz.
wow, yeah.
Right. And my opinions have been wrong, Kevin. But when I report facts, I'm always right.
There's a great quote from that the Dame Cameron Diaz says in Vanilla Sky, and I would like to find it and read it. I know it, but I don't want to misquote it. Cameron Diaz, she says she's very serious when she's talking to Tom Cruise. She says, desperately, "You fucked me 4 times the other night, David. You've been inside me. I swallowed your cum. That means something. Don't you know when you sleep with someone, your body makes a promise whether you do or not?" But I just kind of wanted to. I mean, how many movies have someone screaming that at Tom Cruise?
Just one.
Night and day.
Oh, yeah, night and day.
That happens.
So one example of the Mandela Effect is the Berenstain Bears, which everyone since 1962 has called the Berenstein Bears, even though the books say Berenstain. And I remember when the Berenstain Bears cartoon came out when we were kids, I got so mad that they said their own names wrong because they said Berenstain, and we all said Berenstein, that I never watched past the first episode. Now, researchers at the University of Chicago have studied this phenomenon. They brought in 100 participants and showed them a number of pop culture images which were somehow altered. So, for example, they gave Waldo from Where's Waldo an umbrella instead of a cane.
I didn't even know he had a fucking cane.
Yeah, he has a cane. He walks.
Fuck Waldo. You know what?
It's not a cane. It's a hiking stick, man.
A hiking stick. Fine.
He's trekking through the world. That's the whole bit.
Hey, let me ask you this though.
Okay.
Does the end of the cane have a silver werewolf skull used to beat thieves to death? Is that canon? Is that Waldo canon?
The red stripes are because he beat somebody while standing behind many blinds.
Yes.
I will tell you this really quickly. Where's Waldo has a different name in England.
Crumbles McGillicuddy.
It's called Where's Wally.
Oh, wow. That's totally different.
Yeah, for some reason. So if you go to England and go, hey, where's your Where's Waldo books? They'll just look at you like you're crazy.
Well, I bet Waldo is slang for dildo in England. That's why they changed it.
I bet.
No, they changed it when they brought it here. It's originally England.
Right, but they originally was going to be called Waldo even there.
Yeah.
So they were finally able to give it the title they wanted here.
I see.
Yeah.
Knowing that American audiences wouldn't confuse it for a dildo.
So anyway, they gave people a choice between the altered and unaltered images, and it mostly showed them altered images. And most people chose the altered images. Researchers then pointed out which image was unaltered, and they asked people to study the image. They then went through the deck again, and most participants insisted the altered images were the real ones. Researchers were shocked that in real time, they could create shared false memories for an entire group of people using just their short-term memory. One researcher said, quote, "This effect is really fascinating because it reveals that there are these consistencies across people and false memories that they have for images they've actually never seen." And then she added, quote, "I could even manipulate the memorability of an image." In other words, the Mandela effect does seem to exist, but it exists in terms of how easily our collective memories are altered, and as a result, so are our collective realities.
I was not near high enough to understand any of that.
It translates to there's a grant available, and so we did some bullshit, confusing experiment and had people say the wrong thing, allegedly, and we're going to be able to afford our mortgage this year.
That was just a page out of a Carlos Castaneda book. What head shop did they sell this article at?
I know it's at University of Chicago News. It was published in a journal. I'm not sure which journal off the top of my head.
Oh, was it the High Times Journal?
No, they don't have a journal.
They got weed centerfolds.
Was it the journal? Was it in the Best Buds?
Isn't that the naked women with the around marijuana buds?
Is there a magazine called Best Buds? Or is that just a section of High Times?
I'm sure there's a section of High Times called Best Buds, and it's pairing marijuana with activities. You know, like you smoke this Maui Wowie, and then sit around a leather couch without any pants on, and it feels extra good. because it sticks. Your balls stick when you start to get up, and there's a flap feeling that with your senses particularly tingly. Is
it a cream colored leather couch that's slightly worn in the seats and on the armrests? It's way too puffy, and it's just a little bit too large for the room that it's in. Right next to some vertical blinds, 4 of which are kind of stuck on top of one of the arms and curved in a weird way.
Yes,
and there's just an assortment of remotes on the floor between the oversized couch and a TV that is also oversized.
And you set the air conditioner, the climate control, you want to set that to about 78, 79. It's a little bit too warm. And you get buck naked. You take a big old bong rip, and you get buck naked, and you sit Indian style on there, and you play Donkey Kong Country for about 8 hours, and you right when you go to get up, you smoke, you take another hit about 6 hours in, and you're at this maximum amount of high, and then when you go to get up, you're kind of stuck to this leather couch. And everything sticks as you're getting up.
Wow.
Yeah. And with those THC infected cells having their synapses crackle, snap, and pop in a very dramatic way as your skin sticks but slowly releases, it's somehow very euphoric. So like the Best Buds article, couch, Maui Wowie, Diddy Kong. And that's just lists those together and explains that very well.
Did you say Vidicon?
Diddy Kong.
Oh,
Diddy Kong. That's
Donkey Kong's. Kevin, hold on. We're getting this in. Kevin, Diddy Kong is. I'm getting this. That Diddy Kong is Donkey Kong's illegitimate child.
Illegitimate.
I think it's his nephew.
And
Daisy Kong is his niece.
Daisy Kong is his niece.
I think so.
Now,
she flies with her hair, right? Is that Daisy that's a la Tails flies with her hair spinning around?
Isn't that Tails from Sonic?
That's what I said.
Yeah, that's not Diddy Kong.
Has Donkey Kong ever mated?
We wanted to mate with a princess, right?
He wanted to mate with a human being.
Yeah, but
which might, if that were to happen, could conceivably create a human Z.
But no, he's an ape.
That's what scientists have often said around the world.
I keep trying to make one, but it hasn't worked out.
When you say you keep trying to make one, how are you doing that?
I'm trying to catfish women on Tinder to show up at a zoo.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
sneak into a gorilla cage.
You're the mad scientist in this scenario.
Yeah, but I'm doing it all through social media, and particularly I'm doing not social media. I'm doing it all through dating apps.
Right. Well, this is what led to the original formulation of Alpha Brain and Monkey Mindset, right?
Exactly, because I feel like. We're at the precipice of the alpha brain monkey mindset, but it's still human. But if we were to actually create a human Z, the things we could learn from it, what it can teach us.
Fascinating.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is fascinating. The mind boggles at the possibilities.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've forgotten what this story was about.
The Mandela Effect.
The Mandela Effect.
But it was what it explains is why so many people
talking about monkeys on trains
can have a stupid misconception and just stubbornly, contrarily hang on to that collectively.
But why do so many people do that?
That's what
this is. Berenstain Effect or Mandela or
butterfly.
What are some other big ones?
That's what this is trying to. Oh well, yeah. You mean the people who think the Mandela Effect is the butterfly effect? I think that's just one person.
No, the problem is that you're thinking that we're on a different story. We were just still talking about
the butterfly effect.
No, we're talking about the monkey on the train. That's why we were talking about
the monkey
on the human
train.
Z.
Oh yeah, how Al Gore.
Yes,
I mean Al Franken.
Yes.
Oh,
who used to be roommates with Al Gore.
Wait, Al Franken was never roommates with Al Gore.
Yes, he was.
Yes, they were. And then they had to become not roommates because Al Franken was so obsessed with getting monkeys to mate with humans,
right,
and create a human Z, something that I have followed. My career is very similar to Al Franken's.
Oh no!
I think he partnered with James Garner.
I've killed James Garner. I've killed.
I've killed him. He was in the Rockford Files. Right?
Good theme song.
I feel like we've drifted back into the Larsanizance.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So Our last story comes to us from the BBC.
Bad Boys Club.
Bad Boys Club.
And I will say, I really, there's not much to this story, but I really like this story. Apparently, park rangers at a national park in Turkey were alerted about the location of an incapacitated bear cub. When they found the cub, it was lethargic, and rangers determined it had eaten what is known in Turkey as mad honey or hallucinogenic honey.
Horny honey.
Yo, he's on that mad honey, yo. He got mad honey.
Didn't we just talk about honey? Like
we had hot honey a couple of weeks. There are all kinds of honey in the world, Brian.
Horny honey. It was horny honey.
Yeah.
Horny honey. That's Is
that what this bear was doing?
No, he had mad honey. Mad honey is most often made from rhododendron pollen, and according to Wikipedia, it causes various cardiovascular effects, nausea and vomiting, and this is what it said on Wikipedia, so it must be true, a change in consciousness. Rangers loaded the very dazed and wobbly-looking bear into the back of a truck and took it to a vet where it was found to be otherwise healthy. Once it sobered up, the bear cub was released back into the wild.
Where was the mama bear?
I don't know. She probably wandered off.
Well, no wonder the bear got it into drugs if he didn't have a mom around to teach him.
Nobody's taking care of the bear. Bear just wants to be loved. Bear just wants to feel like the bear belongs somewhere.
A lot of ways, the bear's acting out for attention.
Right. Doesn't know the difference between negative and positive attention. Getting on the honey. Wait.
Mad honey, yo.
Okay, thank you. I was confused.
So can humans alter their consciousness?
Yeah.
Can humans alter their consciousness from mad honey, yo?
Yeah, they can. In fact,
well, how do we get some?
Well, they have rhododendrons here.
Yeah,
can we just eat some rhododendron?
Rhododendron pollen. So you have to get honey made from rhododendron pollen, and I guess
Well, why can't you just eat the pollen? Just go eat some flowers.
I don't know the rules of mad honey.
It's not.
Wait, what is it again?
Enough. Mad honey, yo.
Okay. So it has to. So is there something about the honey being? Is it has to be processed by bees before it really gets?
I don't know.
Really gets
but I've never heard of people getting high off rhododendrons before. Oh shit!
Something's happening. Hey
Breaking
guys,
news.
I'm getting something. Are you getting something?
I'm here.
I'm getting something. Mark Ryan's here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hey, Mark Ryan.
Yo, Mark. Yo, Mark.
Is this thing on?
Yo, Mark.
Working?
Yo, Mark. Yo, Mark.
This is
You got
Merc.
some of that mad honey, yo?
Merc.
Yo, Mark.
Oh, it's Merc.
Yo, Mark, you got some of that mad honey, yo?
I have horny honey.
Kevin. Yo, Kebe. Yo, Kebe.
He remembers horny honey.
Ooh, yo, Kebe, tell Merc about this mad honey, yo.
Do you hear about this, Mark? I'm sorry, Merc.
You heard about this?
He hasn't
You heard about this?
You heard about this, Mark?
What are you doing?
Hey, Mark, you heard about this mad honey?
Setting up a bit.
You heard about this? Turns out you got
this
these bears.
I think Mike should know it.
I think so.
What else is in the news? You heard about this? These they're mad honeys. They got the bears. They've got these bears out there, and they're eating honey. See, they're eating honey, and it's getting them so crazy high that they're losing their consciousness. Okay,
They're taking LSD, right?
that is the LSD. Yet
Wait a
another
minute.
reason why the Chicago Cubs can't win again.
You should write for the Bad Boys Club. Read that article.
That would be good. I mean, I'm hoping to get a late night talk show slot though. Just a Leno kind of vibe.
Right.
Well, if you can't do worse. That makes you feel better.
You heard about this? Mad honey, yo. So why haven't we started trying to do Mad Honey? I mean, specifically us, but also us as a humanity. It seems like anytime there's a chance for humans to find new drugs to do, we take it.
We're normally pretty good at that. Yeah.
More positive things about our species.
It seems like it's pretty rare. There's like a beehive that close to that many rhododendron where there's enough concentration to get you high in their honey. And so it mostly seems to happen in Turkey and Nepal for some reason.
I think they have giant bees in Nepal.
Murder hornets.
No, they're bees and they're giant.
Giant Nepal.
I think I remember seeing a picture in a textbook of a Nepal man hanging from a cliff face with giant bees around him. I might have been watching a cartoon, but I'm pretty sure it was a textbook.
I would definitely try this mad honey yo.
Yeah.
You know, Saturday the 20th is National Honeybee Day.
Ooh.
I don't know what you guys are doing, but I know I'm going to be high as fuck off that mad honey yo.
Well, like I say, rhododendrons are, I think, very popular on the East Coast. So
That's my favorite Autobot.
rhododendron.
Rhododendron. Yeah. He's got arms that turn into saws.
Is
Wow.
he a Autobot or Decepticon?
He's switched. He does both sides.
Oh, all right.
It depends on a daytime Autobot, nighttime Decepticon.
Oh, I like
A
that.
split personality.
Does his head rotate?
Yeah.
Can you turn his head around?
Yeah. If it's like he'll get shocked by too much electricity and
Mm-hmm.
rhododendron.
So now we're going to Mike's corner and get to know your podcast.
Have I ever brought up within this podcast? It comes up a lot in my life, and I was actually trying to think. Like, I use him as a reference a lot, but have I ever brought up my good friend Budd Dwyer?
I don't think so.
Budd Dwyer was an American politician who served as the 30th state treasurer of Pennsylvania.
I think we did talk about him one time.
He served from 1965 to 1971 as the Republican member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. 71 to 81 as the Pennsylvania State Senate, representing the state's 50th district. He was a politician guy in Pennsylvania. The early 80s, Pennsylvania discovered that its state workers had overpaid federal taxes due to errors in state withholding prior to Dwyer's administration. A multi-million-dollar recovery contract was required to determine the compensation to be given to each employee. In 86, Dwyer was convicted for accepting a bribe from the Computer Technology Associates to award them the contract. He was found guilty on 11 counts of conspiracy, mail fraud, and perjury and interstate transportation in aid of racketeering, and was scheduled to be sentenced on January 23rd, 1987. Big deal, right? But probably no more of a big deal than a
sad at his time, right? Yeah.
Politician gonna do his thing, and and in this way, like a lot of rich people, he was out on bail, and he was convicted but not immediately sentenced to jail. There was going to be a press conference surrounding that, so they had a little press conference after the sentencing. There's cameras, there's everywhere, live news broadcasts from everywhere, and he's standing there, and he's talking about what had happened, and he's admitting to his faults, and he pulls out a large manila envelope. And within that envelope, you think, well, maybe he's going to pull out some documents or something, but no, he pulled out a .357 Magnum, the same gun that one Dirty Harold likes to use in his movies. And he said, people start screaming, and he says, Get away! This will hurt someone. And he puts the barrel to the giant gun in his mouth and shoots himself. The back of his head kind of blows off, and he slumps down onto the ground. And at that time, it looks like his nose is a water faucet in your sink, and the water faucet has been turned on to as high as possible. Well, it's not water coming out; it's dark black blood. And it keeps coming out and keeps coming out as his body slowly melts and crumbles. And quite a sight for everyone, because this was being broadcast live all over the East Coast, because this was like a pretty big deal. And the news feed people in some places did not hit the delay too much. So millions of people saw this incredibly graphic suicide on tape and on film, and it is one of the most insane pieces of video that kind of been seen on TV at that time. Afterwards, the imagery of Mr. Budd Dwyer killing himself became a very popular, I guess this is pre-meme, but it was used as a many a metal band, many a industrial band would use the image of Bud sticking a giant Dirty Harry gun into his mouth. It was the inspiration for the song "Hey Man, Nice Shot" by the band Filter.
Yeah.
The lead singer of Filter happens to be the brother of Mr. Robert Patrick, T2 himself. Little known fact.
Oh, full circle.
Full
What?
circle.
How is that a full circle?
You know.
Oh, because we were talking about Terminator 2.
Yeah.
When were
Comes
you
up a
doing
lot.
that?
Maybe you don't remember because of a little thing called the Mandela Effect.
The butterfly effect.
But the tape was very popular in tape trading circles. This is before the YouTube.
Explain what a tape trading circle was.
Well, back in the day, there's a very funny Mr. Show, which is a sketch comedy show that the very famous Bob Odenkirk, now off of Better Call Saul, had in the mid 90s. It's a sketch comedy show that it just typical sketch comedy. But one of the sketches was back in the day. You didn't sign up for this, but there was just a time, if you knew the right people, somebody would open the door, be holding a VHS cassette and say, "You guys got to fucking see this." And you would watch it and just see a myriad of fucked up things that are now completely available on YouTube. And when I was in high school, I got a hold of the Budd Dwyer tape, and I felt it was my duty to show it to everybody. Why? Because none of you guys have seen The Truth of Death. And it's time you see it.
Yep.
You're in the 11th grade, right? It is a truly, the first time you see that, if you've never seen any true, like real death, it fucks you up so bad. I mean, I showed it to you guys, right?
I remember specifically the calm way he holds his hand out.
Yeah.
For everyone to back off and be careful because a 357 is a dangerous weapon.
Yeah, he says, "This will hurt somebody."
Yeah.
This will hurt somebody.
So thanks for the invasive imagery, Mike.
Well, tell me how you guys felt when you saw that. Do you remember how? I am the one that brought it to you guys, right?
I think, I'm pretty sure. If I saw it back then, it was from you.
You took me to the cable station
Yeah.
and showed me at the cable station at like 10 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, no, I remember that because there was a guy that worked at the cable station that gave me a copy of it, and he was like real weird about giving me a copy. He was like, "This could get you in a lot of trouble." But so later in college, I thought everybody was talking about all the craziest things they've ever seen, on VHS or whatever. Like, you ever seen this movie, that movie? You ever seen the guy that gets hit by the train? You ever seen Faces of Death?
Johnny B. Good.
Yeah,
doing his thing.
Faces of Death. You ever seen Cannibal Holocaust? And I said, there's a bunch of people hanging out in a dorm room.
Uh-huh.
Bunch of theater art students.
Yeah.
Right.
A couple film students. Bunch of theater art students. People there at that school just study musical theater.
Bunch of tough types.
They went to go, a bunch of jets and sharks.
Yeah.
So I ran up to my dorm room and grabbed the tape and stuck the tape in the back pocket of my very baggy skateboarding jeans, which were of the fashion at the time.
They were.
And I rolled down there and put it in. And before I put play, I explained exactly what was going to happen on that tape. I said, "This is the most graphic thing you will ever see. It will mess you up really bad. If you're going to get freaked out by something like this, I suggest you." Nobody chose to leave, which at the time I thought was their fault. I thought there was nothing wrong.
Well, I warned you.
I told you. The room got silent. The party ended quickly. People walked out one by one, except one guy who loved it and wanted to watch it 6 times in a row.
Ooh,
He loved it. Yeah. He's probably in jail right now. But
somehow you aren't.
So then about 6 months later, I got called into the dean of that.
Oh, wow.
And they said it wasn't 6 months. It was probably just a couple months later. It was a while enough that I'd kind of forgot about it. And they're like, "Michael, we are aware of the tape." And I was like, "What tape?" And they questioned me about it. And they said that the school is having to cover therapy for one of the people that saw it.
Did you say, "But I warned him"? Did you?
Oh yeah. I explained that. That one of them's going into therapy, that the school's being forced to pay for the therapy, and that they need the tape. And I was like, I don't have it. I totally had it. But at the time, I thought like, wow, this is censorship, man.
Yeah, that's right.
But
who do they think they are?
Oh, do you think it was the guy who watched it 6 times?
No, I think I made him a copy of it.
No, he was furiously masturbating to memories of it.
There was a dude who was really, there's a guy that was really obsessed, that was really obsessed with the TV show Babylon 5.
Oh, sure.
I remember the dean said that I could possibly be facing criminal charges, that I might need to lawyer up.
Oh, wow.
I didn't lawyer up. Nothing ever actually came of it, but I did find out that the Babylon 5 kids said, I'll never forgive Mike for what he did to me that night. And to that, we salute you, Budd Dwyer.
Budd Dwyer.
The INS hero.
Is he an INS hero?
He's the INS hero.
I feel like that's an abrupt ending to us calling this guy a hero.
Let me read just a little bit more about the suicide. Like what he does. He says, no, don't. This will hurt someone. I believe he thinks somebody's coming towards him to grab his gun. But he grabs the muzzle of the gun, puts it in his mouth, shoots the trigger, goes through the roof of his mouth and his brain, collapses on the floor, dead. 5 cameras are recovering this.
Oof.
One camera, and here's a guy that probably got in trouble. The one camera that focused on Dwyer and goes close up right into there as the blood faucet goes all the way out. Now, all these Pennsylvania television stations, they showed to it was just a midday audience. You know, these are women who,
they were wanting to watch Luke and Laura's wedding. This
interrupted that. So over the next several hours, news editors had to decide how much of the footage they wanted to show. Many chose not to air the final moments of the suicide, and WPVI chose not to show the gunshot a second time. A bunch froze action just before the gunshot. However, the latter 2 stations, KYW and KDKA, allowed the audio of the shooting to continue under the frozen image.
I think that's worse in a way.
It's an important event about an important man, said Williams.
It's newsworthy, yeah.
It's newsworthy. Everyone knows by then that he did it. It was a bad thing to do because many, many children were home from school that day because of a snowstorm. So kids all over who were, probably watching whatever, had their, waiting, or their moms watching. It's stuff's on. Budd Dwyer, if you're gonna go, man, you just have to say, hey, man, nice shot. Hey, man, nice one.
So that
hey, man, nice shot, man.
It's a heavy Mike singing episode.
Yeah, I'm giving the gift of song.
That wraps up another week of the International News Service. Find us across social media at International News Pod. Email us at internationalnewspod@gmail.com. If you're worried that you've fallen into another reality, check your podcast app and make sure you're still subscribed to our podcast, the Intercontinental News Shuffle. Check out the INS merch store at Redbubble and our Patreon. We'll see you next week.
Are you going to watch Budd Dwyer after this, dear listener? I'm not telling you to. In fact, I'm warning you not to. So if you do watch it
therapy bills,
and you are affected by it, you can't blame old M-Dub.
Yep.
And if you're listening to this and about to go watch Babylon 5, I'm not paying for that therapy either.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.